Hey guys, new video for Exile. Alright, so in this video we're going to go over my mercenary starter build that is basically right now we are using, let's open the skills. Okay, so for skills right now I'm using Galvanic Shards as a main skill. This attack is pretty insane because first of all it has a really good clear because you shoot out a bunch of these shards, right? And it has really big clear. You can see it's kind of like a shotgun, right? And these all chain, right? It shoots out all these little shards and then they chain to different monsters. So that is pretty good for clear. But it also does shotgun. So all of the fragments can hit the same target. So on bosses, you know, if you stand close enough to the boss so that all of your targets can hit, then you end up doing quite a lot of damage. Right, so in PoE 2, there is sort of these combos you could say that you can do, like you could break a target's armor and then you do a little bit more damage, or you can freeze them and then, you know, build up freeze and all this kind of stuff. But rather than doing that, you know, that involves like multiple different skill uses and these combo skills, and then you have to set the target up and then all this kind of stuff. And I really didn't want to do that because just, first of all, it seems annoying, and a lot of times in these boss fights, you just really don't have time to actually do that, right? Also, you know, you spend 10 seconds, or let's just say you spend 5 seconds setting up for an armor break. Well, that's 5 seconds that you're not actually doing damage with your main skill, right? So, maybe after you break their armor, you do, let's just say you do double damage, but during the time that you're breaking their armor, you're not really doing damage, right? So it ends up, I felt that just spamming my main skill ended up being more damage than trying to like set up some kind of like fancy combo. Okay, so right now my character is level 29. We're in Act 2, probably just about to finish Act 2, so not really that far into the game yet, but we will be updating the build. I do have an end game build that I'm working towards that will be updating on the build planner over on Mobilytics, so you can go check that out, and you know, stay tuned for updates. Alright, so let's go into a little bit of gameplay so you guys can see what this kind of looks like before we kind of jump into the build guide. And so basically what I'm doing is I'm just using Galvanic Shards most of the time, right? And I do have the grenades, the Voltec grenade things. And these do quite a lot of damage for, like, you know, supplementing your clear, and they also build up electrolyte, electrolytes, right? Yeah, anyways. So they will stun the target, basically, right? So it is kind of nice to use every now and then, right? There's a lot of targets. But you can see we do have some pretty nice explosions going on with the Herald of Ash, and then the Ascendancy passive for this Witchhunter, which ends up working out really nice. You see these big white circles are the Ascendancy explosions. They don't really go off that much yet, but these kind of things, you know, it really depends on the mob count. So the more mobs there are, and you know that's probably going to increase as we go into endgame, the more these explosions are going to go off, and eventually, I hope that we're going to be getting these like chain explosions, right? Where we kill one monster, that monster blows up, and then everything kind of like makes like big chain reaction of explosions that just like explodes everything. Right, so that'll be kind of cool, I think, into endgame to see how it looks. But so far, just the Herald of Ash plus these Ascendancy explosions are really cool. It's like funny that you can actually like do this. All right, so this is kind of like what it looks like, right? For bosses too, I'll show you a couple of setups. We have like a rare mob, so this might be kind of a good example. So for bosses, I actually do throw some grenades to get the kind of like stun thing. But pretty much we get close so that we can, you know, hit the target with all of our, oh my god, this chill is so annoying, with all of our attacks. And then we just, oh my god, oh, he has this chill aura, okay. So, you know, we just kind of get close and make sure we can hit with all the attacks, and then just blast away pretty much, right? Alright. I will show you some other setups that I was using earlier on before I actually got to this setup, because there is a couple of key passives you need before you actually swap over to using Galvanic Shards as like a single, you know, main skill. Alright, so let's go over the skills we're using using Galvanic Shards. First of all, like we mentioned before, this skill really cool because it has a big area of attack. The projectiles will then splinter mid-air, and then they kind of shoot out these beams that chain to different enemies, so it ends up having really good coverage. and makes it a very good clear skill. And then after that, all of the targets can hit, or all of the fragments can hit the same target, which means that you can shotgun with it, so it's going to be doing quite a lot of damage on single target as well. So perfect kind of skill in my mind, right? You have a good clear and bossing skill all in one. Maybe we'll add in some other skills later on, I'm not really sure, but this is the skills that we're working with right now, and it's been working out pretty good. All right, so after that, for support gems, I'm using the martial tempo for faster attack speed, and then lightning infusion, so we get some extra lightning damage. All right, after that, let's go over the grenade. Grenade, very, very important part of your toolkit, and we'll go into why right now. Okay, so let me show you something about reload and grenades. So you can see I'm shooting, I'm reloading. Now I'm shooting, right? That was very slow, right? But look, check this out. Shoot, reload, shoot grenade, instantly start shooting again. So when you shoot a grenade, it cancels out the animation, the reload animation, but the reload still happens. So, right, see, reloading, shoot the grenade, instantly reloaded. He's still mid animation, we shoot the grenade. Oh, I kind of messed it up. So shooting, he's still mid animation, we shoot the grenade, but we're like fully reloaded, right? So that's a huge, huge damage increase. So basically all you're doing is attacking. As soon as you start reloading, you shoot a grenade. Okay, so, and on the grenade supports, we have Innervate, just so we get some extra lightning damage when this grenade does end up killing an enemy, and Scattershot. There is a less duration support. I can't really remember the name right now, but that will make the fuse duration lower. I found that the fuse duration already, 1.2 seconds, is low enough, so I don't really think I needed it. Okay, so that is those. And then we have a mark skill. So ideally, we're going to be using conductivity curse support, maybe on blasphemy, maybe on some kind of cast on shock setup. I'm not really sure right now. But you can see my character isn't really smart enough. We only have 11 and 12 intelligence. So we'll have to get a few more stats. And I probably could have gotten it because it's only 52 int. And I've been getting a lot of dex over here, mainly for like the dex gear that we're using. But don't really need that much dex right now. I could actually swap some of this stuff into intelligence and have enough intelligence to use it. But at the same time, I don't really want to be manually casting a curse either. And honestly, I'm not even really using this mark all that much. But it is something you can use. Basically, it's just going to give you more shock effect, which is quite nice. So instead of 20% shock, you get 26. And then you can also support it with there is another one that gives you more shock effect, so that'll probably affect this as well. And then we just have more duration. Okay, so as the skills, you can see we do have high velocity rounds here, and this is what I was using before I actually swapped over to this. I'll go over the tree before I swapped in the Mobalytics build planner where we can kind of see it a little bit better. But the main thing we need is this lightning rod skill here. The lightning damage with non-critical hits is lucky. And if you don't really know what this means is lightning damage in Path of Exile has a very long, high range. So it has a very low end and a very high top end. You can see at the very top in the white text, for example, adds 1 to 20 lightning damage. So when you attack, it's going to roll either 1 to 20. And lucky means that it rolls 2 times instead of 1. So if we, on the first roll, we rolled 1, but on the second roll, we rolled 20, then it's going to pick the 20 and we end up doing 20 lightning damage. So this really, really big, especially for lightning damage, because lightning damage, you know, usually has a very, very high range. So a very low end and a very high top end. Okay, so high velocity rounds, until I could actually get that, it's what I was using is I would take out from my grenade the scatter shot and put it in high velocity rounds, right, as such, and it ends up being a really, really good boss killer because this skill already hits really hard, 125 per hit, and we have 9 hits coming out in the full magazine. You can see we have, if we reload, yeah, we got 3 rounds, and each of those rounds shoot out 3 projectiles, right? And so that's 125 times 9, and so you can imagine it's quite a lot of damage. Right now, though, with this current Galvanic Shards setup, I did find that this was actually doing a little bit more damage now on bosses when I can hit them with all of the shards. So I've actually fully swapped out of it now. But before that, what I was doing when I'd go into a boss, I just take out my grenade because I don't really use grenades on bosses. I found it kind of hard to actually hit them a lot of times because they're moving around. So I just swap out my grenade, put the scatter shot here, and then just kind of blast them down with this. Now this is actually still quite useful because one kind of trick you can also do with the crossbow. So you can see if we put in our galvanic shard rounds, we can start shooting, and then we can instantly click the high velocity round while we're still holding down our attack button, right? And so what this is going to do is it allows you to swap swap ammo very, very quickly while you're still attacking. So you can see if there is, for example, a rare monster. Let's go find one so we can actually show you guys. All right, so here's some, oh, they're already dead. Okay, well, we'll have to find some more monsters. But yeah, okay, so what we could do is, let's just not kill all of them. Oh, okay, here. So what we could do is we could shoot our galvanic rounds. Oh, but oh shit, one's left. We can just swap right into this round, right? The high velocity rounds. So what you could do is it's really nice for like rares where your initial burst of galvanic rounds didn't actually kill them. You can just kind of swap into the other high powered rounds and finish off whoever is there very quickly because you don't have to wait for the reload. All right, so that is the skills. Oh, right now I'm not really using it though, but I'm just keeping it in here for now. All right, so let's go over the gear. There's a couple of things that are a little bit important. First of all, when you're using the high velocity rounds, the quiver, the crossbow you want is going to be one with an implicit that says loads an additional bolt, because high velocity rounds only has one bolt to begin with, and then the crossbow gives it one more, and then the double barrel gives it one more, giving it 3. So something to keep in mind when you're like early on. Oh shit, let's kill these guys off. Okay. Yeah, so early on, I mean, I don't know. I think even for galvanic rounds, having one extra round is quite nice. So you can see instead of 5, we have 6, right? So it makes it a little bit nicer. I mean, you know, obviously just use whatever you get, right? Because this is still early days. Once I do get to end game, then I will be updating the build with like the best at slot gear, options and that kind of stuff. But for now, we're using whatever we got. Okay, so that's one thing. Since we are using lightning infusion on our main attack, this means that we don't want to get cold or fire damage. Although you can see I do have cold and fire damage on my weapon, it's not really going to be doing that much. It's going to be doing 50% less. So that means ideally we want to focus on pure lightning damage. I think right now, if we can fully convert to fizz, you can see right now we're only converting 70% or 40%. I think the beams are converting 100%, yeah. So we do want to get a little bit more conversion, maybe, but I'm not really sure. But, you know, without POB, it's kind of hard to kind of calculate what's going to be what. But I'd say focus on lightning and physical damage. It's probably going to be the best bet. You can also get damage to your attacks on your gloves and on your rings and maybe on your amulet too. I'm not really sure yet. Yeah, I think you can actually. So that's these rings and your weapon and your gloves are the main thing you want to look out for you know, those extra added damage to attacks, because added damage to attacks is really, really strong in PoE. Aside from that, there's really nothing else to say about the gear except that having life regen is really good, right? Because you see my character is regenerating 10 life per second, so that might not seem like much, but there is a lot of bosses in PoE where there's a lot of chip damage, right? Or when you're running around the map, there's like a lot of chip damage. So having a little bit of life regen does add up, you know, a long way, and makes everything feel a lot better because you don't have to constantly use your life flask. You only use the life flask like when you actually take a big hit. But if you're like, you get poisoned for a little bit, or the boss does a little spell and kind of does like, I don't know, maybe it does like, you know, 70 damage. You don't really have to worry about pushing your life flask because your passive regen is gonna kind of keep you topped off. So definitely go for life regen. I'd say even go for life regen over resistance because it just makes everything feel better. Okay, so but I mean, this is like advice for leveling in the campaign, right? All right, so let's go over the passive tree. You can see the passive tree, we're going all the way down to the bottom because that's where all the goodies are. Basically, we do need lightning rod, because this node is busted like we went over. The lucky lightning damage, just insane. Then after that, getting some penetration. Penetration works differently in PoE 2, whereas penetration, you're not able to penetrate below 0 anymore. In Path of Exile 1, you could penetrate below 0 resistance. So penetration is not really as good. Probably endgame is not all that good when you have a lot of sources of, reducing your monster's elemental resistances, like curses and that kind of stuff. Curses, on the other hand, can reduce the monster resistance below 0, I believe. So it's not like you can't reduce it anymore, but penetration just not as strong, because once you hit 0, it's doing nothing. But on the other hand, penetration is a lot higher value now on the tree. It seems before they would be like 5% penetration, right, or 8% pen, but now it's like 15 and that kind of stuff, so that's kind of nice. Okay, so I did respec the tree. I'll show you on the Mobalytics build planner right after this the different setups I was using while I was leveling, but for now this is what we have here. And the most important thing is this instant the reload speed, right? Reload speed really big, although you can cancel it with your grenades, so maybe not all that important, but it definitely makes things feel a little bit smoother. And then after that, the lightning damage, and then we're going to go for more attack speed, and come down here to get this chance to not consume a bolt, because this is probably the most busted mechanic for Witchhunter. Because, okay, so if you had 100% chance to not consume a bolt, you never have to reload. Let's just put it that way. Okay, so you probably imagine that's pretty insane, right? But there is limited sources of this stat. I doubt you can actually get to 100. Who knows? Maybe you can. But having a little bit is nice, okay? Especially for skills that have a lot of bolts. Okay, so that's that. But mainly, I just wanted to go get this 30% reload speed over here. So we're going to get that, and then we're going to get some Pierce, right? Because Pierce on Galvanic Shards doesn't pierce, and I don't want to put a Pierce gem in here because it's kind of cringe. So we're going to get our Pierce on the tree. We don't need 100%. 50% Pierce or so should be totally fine. We'll get 60% here, so like 30 here, and then another 30% here. So that's going to be totally fine. Okay, so that is the tree. Let's go jump over into Mobalytics so we can go into more detail on the leveling path and then what we're going to be doing in the future. Okay, so this is the build, guys, the build page. Make sure you follow along on the Mobalytics as well, because I will be updating this build with whenever I do update it, all the info will be here. So make sure you do follow the build so you can get those updates. Okay, so let's go over to the tree. Okay, so while I was leveling, let's just get rid of all this for now. What we did was I came down here. And there's a reason why I want the armor and evasion, right? Armor evasion, very good defense early on, and late game is going to be insane as well. So a lot of people come down this way, projectile damage, right? But me, I want the life regen, right? It's not a lot. I say, oh my god, like, what is this? This is like 1% of your life regenerated. That's kind of crap, right? But guys, this has saved me so many boss fights. Just this little bit of regen, and then a little bit of regen on gear, really made everything feel a lot better. I don't have to worry about my life flask that much anymore. You can sort of tank through a lot of degen and that kind of stuff. Okay, so after that, I did come and I got Ricochet. And I honestly didn't like it, so I recommend you skip this. Don't get this as bait. Okay, so we come down here. Now, there is damage with 200 weapons you can get if you really just want extra damage early on. But I didn't take that. First thing I got was reload speed. But, I think since early on you're going to be focusing on grenades, you get this. Now, cluster bombs, I think this is bait, guys, because fires another projectile, but it's like huge more fuse duration. So what are you going to do? You're going to shoot your cluster bomb, and then it's going to you have to wait like 10 seconds for it to blow up. But anyways, you could take it if you want, and it's easy to respec, so don't worry, just test it out. If you don't like it, just get rid of it. Okay, so we got our grenade stuff here that I was using, and then after that, come down here and life. This is just like trash. Don't take this. All right, so we come here, we get the reload speed, we get the grenades. Now this is what you want. This is like enough to go into like mid act 2. Just this. That's all you need, just the grenades, because you're going to be using a lot of grenades. I'll show you later on what we're using. And then once I leveled up more, right, you come down here, and once you have enough points to get this, then just get rid of all of this stuff, right? And then you're here, and then later you work to here, and then we're going to work over to here, and then lastly to pierce. Okay, so after this, where do you go? Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a long journey, right? We're going to go all the way up to Resolute Technique. First of all, accuracy, the way accuracy works in PoE 2 is a little bit different in PoE 1. The further away the target is, the less accuracy you have. So, you know, it's going to feel really bad shooting monsters far away on the screen because it's going to be hard to get the accuracy, right? And second of all, we don't want to crit right now. Maybe we will go crit in the future, but honestly, guys, having to work in crit and then you have to worry about your other gear, your flat damage, all this kind of stuff, it's not really going to be good early on. So we're going to go Resolute Technique with the Lucky Lightning damage, which is going to be pretty good. Usually in PoE 1, Lucky Lightning damage was like 20 to 30% more damage. Right, so that's pretty nice. Okay, so while we're here, other cool things we can do that I wanted to do is there's some recoup, 15%. Now recoup is over 8 seconds, so not as good. But now, since we are here, guys, we can go up here. We can get some rage, and this is like quite a lot, right? 2 rage, 2 rage, 2 rage. So that's 2, 4, 6, 5, 11 rage per hit. Whenever something hits you, you get 11 rage. That's pretty insane. So this is like stuff we're gonna do, but the main thing we want to do is we want to get Resolute Technique. It's gonna be a very big damage increase because, you know, missing versus far targets, and then it's like feels bad, right? But also you don't have to worry about accuracy, right? And we are gonna need a lot of attributes because we're gonna need intelligence, we're gonna need dex, we're also gonna need strength. So something to note there. For our ascendancy right now, we only have Zealous Inquisition, and our second ascendancy is going to be Pitiless Killer for Culling Strike. We are going to swap this around at the third ascendancy. Third ascendancy, you're going to get rid of Culling Strike. We're going to go into Witchbane, maybe, or not Witchbane. We go into the Sorcery Ward kind of thing, but that is probably something we're going to do when you're in maps, I think, guys. You don't, in the campaign, you're not going to need Sorcery Ward. So I think early on, then what you do is you just go Pitiless Killer, Decimating Strike, or you can go try this area here. But something like this, right? And there is a lot of things here that I do want to get that's going to increase our survivability quite a lot. Later on in the game, we're going to go for this Unnatural Resilience for more max res. By the way, small nodes, quite a lot of res. All right, and then also right next to the Rage area is more max res, right? All right, so we're gonna get a lot of max res, that kind of stuff. Over here, this is like our defense and offense as well, so it's quite nice. We get the recoup for a little bit more regen. All right, and yeah, this is sort of the build idea for now, guys. And then, you know, obviously there is more damage here we can get here. There is this stuff here, the Cull the Horde's gonna work really, really good with your Culling Strike, so that's gonna be kind of nice. And then we'll just kind of see. This is kind of all I have thought out for now. I mean, I do have actually more planned, guys, but it's not really tested yet, so I can't really talk about it. But we'll have updates for this, so don't worry about that. Keep updating this build. If you don't know from like previous videos, like in PoE 1, I'm usually playing an armor stacker and min-maxing it probably the basically having like best in slot gear by the end of the league, or not end of the league, but like 1 month in the league. So I'm usually making the, you know, arguably one of the most strongest archetypes in Path of Exile every league, and putting out guides for that. So same with PoE 2, we'll be making end game completely min-max, like best in slot build guides for you guys to follow along. All right, but that'll be it for this video, guys. Leave a like on the video, sub, all that good stuff. And on the Mobalytics page, if you want to keep up with the build, then I recommend you like the build so you can keep getting those updates. All right, but that'll be it for this one, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.